Hey guys, what's up? So this is just an update on the 200K assessment. So as you know, I'm trying to build a 5K buffer to reach the ultimate 2K target. So the 20K target, sorry, is all the way up here. It is a bit further away at the moment, but slow is fast. So essentially just trying to build a buffer over here. And essentially once I've got that buffer, I can increase risk ever so slightly and then gradually build my way up. Now, I have kind of taken quite a lot of trades, more than I would have anticipated over the course of the period where I've had this account, but it's completely fine. I'm still working on it and progressing, and these are the main reasons, is that I can take the time out and essentially just focus on kind of improving as this period moves forward. So in terms of growth, we can basically see that I'm currently at around about 1.85% of the total account value. I'm running around about $3,700 on the account, where I'm working towards the 20K target, and I'm trading with 0.25% currently. So what we're seeing over here is there was quite a lot of trades taken, actually, to be honest. So 44 to be exact. So that is still had a good level of over trading in there, but the good thing about it is I kept my cool, and ultimately when I did encounter some sort of level of over trading, I was able to deal with it properly. Now, I did take a few losses in here as well, where I'm going to see if I can filter this. Don't think the live metrics will let me filter it, but we can see here ultimately I had a maximum loss of $270 under the starting balance, so that wasn't so bad. Didn't go into deep drawdown at all at any point. I also reached a maximum daily loss of $1,000, which was basically 0.5% off my total balance here. So not so bad as well. Once again, managing the risk well, which is the most important thing, keeping that risk low, and then earning potential is pretty good. So for a maximum of around about, I think I was running like 2% at the maximum point anyway on this account, 2.5 maybe, but so yeah, pretty much at that point there. I'm going to go over to the other metrics, because I do, even though that you have the live metrics here, I do prefer this one because I'm more used to it. So we can see here that I don't know what consistency score really is. I just think it means how consistent your likability is, and it's nice to see that I'm 73% up. Let's see if we can get it to the 80 to 100, just for why not. But more so, we can see here that on a day-to-day basis, so 1 2 3 4 5 6, so 1 2 3 4 5 6, yeah, 6 days, 40 trades, 44 trades, still pretty much a lot for me. It's not something that I would say is regular, but I think because I'm trading with a reduced amount of risk, I have been gravitating towards and being in significant profit a lot of the time with it. I've been able to kind of accept taking high risk trades, but still would want to lower that. But I wouldn't say that really rectifies every single trade, because some of the time I took 2 or 3 positions in the same trade, which amounted to 0.25, or I accidentally closed a trade, opened a trade, or I took a profit out of one, moved to another one. So there was a lot. So I think really and truly, if I was to summarize this number, I've got it on my trading journal. I think it's roughly around about like 30 or maybe 26 trades, something like that, but it's still quite a lot. Regardless, we'll be looking to not focus on it too much. I don't care much for the amount of trades I take. It's more so about the quality and how I can improve from it. So you can see that with taking those trades, though, I did take an encounter, even though there was some small profits in there. The commission does attack you as well sometimes, so you have to be careful of that and mindful, but the small ones do add up as well. I think if I was to add up all of these tiny losses, they'd still probably amount to like maybe 0.5% or something, so something to just bear in mind. But ultimately, if we are looking at let's see, profitable trades and then losses, so the losses were kept they were managed pretty well in a sense as well. So obviously with 0.25% off the 200k account, it's $500. you can see that I only really took 4 losses, and then the rest of them I cut them short, but in the end they did still add up to something as well. But that's just something to bear in mind, that there wasn't really many losses on this account. It's just when you look at it in hindsight like this, it does look like there's a lot more. Then if we go over and look at profits, same thing really. I mean, more so, I didn't really have an issue with letting trades run. You can see that here I made around about 4%. Over here likewise 4%, 2%, and then 1%, and then so forth, 1%, and then you add a minus, it ends up adding up. But end of day, you can see that the first day was around about 1% profit, then I made a 4%, and then minus 2%, not on one trade, obviously across 7, and then again minus 2%, and then was able to pull myself back up with roughly around about 2.5%, and then again 2 3/4, 2 3/4. So yeah, not bad. I mean, it's slowly improving, it's getting there. I don't evaluate my trades day on day or care about profit factor, win rate. I mean, win rate's usually always been around about 30%, 30 to 60% for me. Expectancy, I don't really look at this stuff that much. Average, risk to reward, that makes a lot of sense for me. Around about 3 to 8. Usually it's around about 5, but in this case it's about 3 to 8, 3.8. Sharpie ratio 0.55, and then average profit is about 1%, so that's pretty good. And then yeah, just want to learn to just bring that up. But we're en route for the 5k buffer, just around about 2.5% under from where I need to be. So I think probably over the course of the remainder of this month, I probably will either be at that buffer point or above, especially looking at how the markets are shaping up. So that's really nice. And then we can see that across the board here. So we do have a bit of a way to go, but if you haven't watched a video already on how I'm looking to manage the risk on this account, you'll see in a mathematical perspective that from literally from the 5k to the 20k, I'm like around about 11% away from passing. So essentially, as soon as I get to that 5k buffer stage, if the next trade is profitable, then it puts me in a really good place, and then I can consistently grow from there. If it sets me back, then I'll go back to 0.25% and then work my way back to the 5, and then pull myself back up. Going into the trading metrics on the FTMO account on MYFXBOOK, we can see here that we have the growth, which is also pretty nice. We can see across the board that it's been pretty consistent throughout, running around about 2% on the overall account, because 1% would be rectifiable for 2k. So 2% on the account, overall balance, and yeah, it's not so bad. I mean, most of the week has been a bit up and down, but we had a lot of momentum coming Thursday, Friday, where I didn't actually release any videos on the particular days, but I did kind of cover on a short, because I had some time to make a YouTube short, and I put it in there off the GJ trade that I took. But overall, we can see that we are pushing forward, and I think using this risk management process is definitely a very, very good way to grow your account slowly but surely. And the most important thing is that you get there, because at the end of it, following this, if we still consistently move in this rate, even if it takes 2 or 3 months, eventually when we do get to the point where we pass, and then we pass the next assessment, and you've received your 200k funds, if you're trading with 0.25, still you can see in a sustainable way that you can still make 20, 30k, 40k with risking a very little amount. And then to consecutively lose the account, you'd have to lose 40 consistent trades in a row, which obviously with the way that I'm trading and you're seeing, it's very, very unlikely, because the reward heavily outweighs the risk. So something I just wanted you to bear in mind. But these are the stats. You can also see them if you go into the description. I'll put the link in there as well, but also on Instagram, if you click on the description of the Instagram, you can also see it. So that's basically it, really. There isn't really much else to kind of report on. It's been quite an up and down week. I think the only thing I had to be really more aware of was overtrading and I had to be more aware of. Just basically over confidence, perhaps. Maybe that's where the risking came in. But the good thing is I stuck to my risk. I didn't want to over risk, but I did tend to find that I did take 2 trades at once sometimes, which technically was over risking. So I didn't over risk on a one position alone, but I took 2 trades. So that's as well something that I think if you are formulating a game plan, you should also take into consideration what is the maximum amount of accounts exposure you'll have at once. Now, I don't necessarily see having 2 positions at the same time a very strong negative, especially with 0.25%. But I think if you're trading with 1% and you don't have a significant buffer in place, you would want to be more cautious with taking 2 trades with 1% exposure open, only because of slippage and whatnot as well. You don't want to be taking, especially because a lot of these prop firm accounts give you a daily drawdown limit. So if you took slippage, let's say 2.5% on each position with maximum 1% risk you had open, you'd lose your account on the day. So that's something to also be very cautious of. Even if you build a significant buffer, you don't want to risk it all in that sense. So did just want to put that out there as well. But I think more importantly for myself, yeah, things are looking pretty good. I mean, right now we are en route for the 5k buffer, which is what I'm really happy about. Once we get to that point, we can then be a little bit more strategic. What I am looking at is my trade frequency as well, because I have been trying to get into trades and then kind of just getting out of them. And some of the trades that I got in did run for like an additional 6-7% as well. It's just psychologically I kind of just had other things to do and I didn't want to hold the trade and whatnot. But I guess it comes into intuition as well. That was something else that I mentioned in another video as well, was just getting a little bit more connected with intuition. There were sometimes some days where I said, okay, the market's not really looking too good and I won't trade, and it happened to be on the days where I did take a bit of a loss as well. So there was 2 days where I took 2% losses, and it was on those 2 particular days where my intuition kicked in and said that I wouldn't take a trade, but I still did take trades on those days because they shaped up. And I think it's just one of those things, like sometimes you can say that you won't take a trade and you take a trade and it works out, and then sometimes you say you won't. But I think at the end of the day it's more important to just kind of trust yourself, and if you say that you're not going to do something, then just don't do it. But you know, it's at the end of the day there's an abundance of days to trade, abundant opportunities, and right now if the market is moving in its impulsive legs and we're getting a lot of momentum coming, there'll be so much opportunity to take advantage of. So guys, that kind of summarizes the update for this week. Just recapping over the major lessons, obviously being more conscious about overtrading, being more connected with my intuition, and the third one was more so just focusing a little bit more on being patient between my trades. I guess that's going to kind of work with trade frequency, but just being very patient with it, because I think there was at some points where I kind of took the trade a little bit more aggressive, and you could probably see that through the trade recaps, but I was a little bit more aggressive with some of the positions where had I been a little bit more patient, I could have still taken a same or similar entry and still walked away with a profit, but with less emotion attached to it. So that basically summarizes the week, guys, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.